Hello everyone, and welcome back to Adobe Live. My name is Voodoo Val, and I am going to be your host for day 2 of some pretty spectacular design with my friend here, Kladi. Kladi, how are you doing today?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing very good. Very excited to be here back for part 2 of these Instagram sticker graphics that we're going to be animating today as well. And thank you for being here with me, Val. It's been very enjoyable yesterday, and I really look forward for today.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to hang out with you and design with you, Kladi. You are fabulous. And we're going to get into a little bit more about Kladi and what she's got planned for today, a little bit about what we did yesterday. But first, some quick points. This is not just Adobe Live. This is Adobe Live Pride Week. So all week we are celebrating creativity for all from the LGBTQ plus community and its allies. If you missed any of the awesome streams that are happening this week, you can always check out the replays on YouTube or Behance. Please check it out because we've had some pretty awesome stuff going on. If you missed the stream that was on just before us with Torin from Casa Design, definitely check that out. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty great. I feel like I love everything here, so I always say everything is pretty great, but I feel like this week is exceptionally great. So check out those replays. If you're over on the YouTube channel, please head over to behance.net/live because that is where Kladi and I are going to be reading the chat. It's where the party's happening. It's where the magic is. So please come and hang out with us. And without further ado, let's dive into a little bit about your project, Kladi. Maybe a quick intro for those of you who are unfamiliar, what we did yesterday and what we've got going on for today.
Absolutely. If we jump right into my screen, we'll be able to have an overview of the stickers that we're aiming to create in these 2 days. Yesterday, we already kickstarted with the 2 most popular one, which were the Portal of Love and also the rainbow with the Pride flag. As Val say, we are here to celebrate Pride Week together. And I really thought that was a great occasion to create something that you can use yourself. And today we're going to see also how you can implement it in your own Instagram feed, in your own stories, so you can celebrate and we can celebrate together love and this amazing Pride Week together on your social media channel. So those are the stickers. Today we can dive in and I will use this little intro time that we have to let the chat decide which is going to be next one. So far we've created the rainbow here and we also created the portal. And I'm also going to give you a quick sneaky preview of what the file in Illustrator is going to look like. I was testing a couple things here and I just want to show you the magic so you can be thrilled and excited to stay with us till the end. So what we're going to be creating here is an animation for our portal and ideally for all our graphics that we're going to be creating. As I promised yesterday, we're going to make our Portal of Love spin, and then we have all the little stars doing the little magic popping up, and then also we have more animation for the other one. I think that the other one that I've animated so far is the rainbow. Again, we're going to be jumping between Photoshop and Illustrator. So we have the rainbow moving up and down. And the beauty is that we can save those as GIFs and we can automatically post them and paste them in Instagram. And I can show you a quick trick to which you can literally paste them into your stories. So you don't have to go all through the process of getting approved on Instagram as well. And you can share with your friend. You can share the GIF files through messages, through text on WhatsApp, and everybody will be able to celebrate together with you. And of course, you can do that with these stickers, but also you can use these techniques to create anything you want using Illustrator and Photoshop.
I am so excited. And when you told us yesterday that we were going to be animating things, I kind of had a pretty good idea of how we might animate the Portal of Love. But this like waterfall rainbow here, this is so cool. Like the way you've chosen to animate it is just so awesome. I'm excited to see how you did this. So like I can't wait to just get through all of the awesome stuff we've got planned. So let's first, I know that you said we wanted to give the chat a little bit of time to see which sticker we like to do next. Yes. I'm partial to the heart. That would be one that I would like to do next. I know yesterday we had some folks in the chat saying that they also really loved the heart and would love to see that. But folks, type in the chat, let us know which sticker is your favorite of the ones that we have yet to complete, which is the Love is Love, Proud to Be Me, and the Love Heart. Let us know which ones you like. And I would like to know, of the ones we have not finished, which one is your favorite, Kladi? Like, which one did you enjoy creating the most?
I really like that Love is Love. Somehow reminds me of The Simpsons. I don't know why. I used to be like, I can see like
the clouds revealing the text. Yeah.
Yeah, so that really grabs my attention. And of course, I think we've done the favorites yesterday, but that is the one that really, I think, represents me. And in the meantime, so everybody, let us know if you want to do the Love is Love, Proud to Be Me, or the Love Heart. So we're going to just give a moment in chat. And in the meantime, I promised yesterday that I was going to show my booklet of stickers. I haven't really found what I was looking for, but I mean, that just to show you, I have plenty of collections of stickers. So I'm just going to pull out here and give some shout out to some other illustrators. So here we have Team Easley, that with a do more work sticker. Here it is. And then we have, that's a love sticker that I've done in the past for some past Pride.
Love it.
And that's literally someone found it in the street and brought it back to me. Then we have Stina Johns with a little rabbits illustrations. Here they are. I'm just going to go ahead and show you a couple more. I actually have some stickers from Adobe Live. That was like one of my first San Francisco time here. We have more stickers and two more. We have Design Ninja, Tony Harmer, which is also here at Adobe Live, streaming from the UK, I think every day at noon. And let's see if I find another one. From Nick. Yeah, we must show. Oh my God, now I have all stickers on my laptop. We have our little pigeon from Nick, which is also been Nick Chaff. I'm probably going to pronounce his last name wrong, and it's going to kill me because he's my friend, Nick Chaff. He's been also a guest here at Adobe Live, I think last year, to create a label from a beer production. So, I mean, now I have basically, I'm diving in stickers, but we have more fun. So that's where is my inspiration. I look at my friends, I look at other illustrator, and I just simply collect them from every event, and also, as I said, from the streets and everywhere else I go. It looks like we lost one graphics. Probably some of the sticker just dropped on top of the laptop. Here it is. Let's move those away. And let's press Command Z to make sure that we undo anything that happened there.
So
do we have anything in the chat?
Yeah, it looks like most people are saying proud to be me. So I'm excited. That should be fun. So let's dive into that one. I'm going to have to send you a care package, Kladi, because I make stickers too. And if you collect stickers, I made a holographic sticker of Baby Yoda sipping a cup of soup. So if you want him,
absolutely.
If you want him, you can have him.
Absolutely. And where about where I want to know where everybody is from at the moment. I loved our international community. I'm currently in the UK. Where are you, Val?
I'm in the Sacramento area in Northern California. So it's sunny. It is too hot today, but I'm getting through it. Where is everybody else at?
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm always super pumped and excited to see that we have such an international community here. Perfect. So we will start from Proud to Be Me. This is probably one of the one will take a little bit extra time. In fact, I think that I would just show you the basics, and then we're going to jump into the final product here, just in terms of see how, we'll get into the mix of it and see how do we get in terms of times. And then the plan is to start to animate something, because I have this horrible habits that with animation, I get so excited about preparing everything, and then we have 10 minutes left to stream, and I literally spend 10 minutes on showing animation, which is probably the longest part in a very quick way. So I just thought that instead of doing all the graphics now, since we already have some from yesterday, I'm just going to jump into, you know, doing a little bit of illustration today, and then starting to animating one of them, and then going back and forth, creating another graphic, and then going back into animating another one. And that should take us nice and easy, having fun between animation and Illustrator. So we're literally gonna use the apps together. But let's get started with this Proud to Be Me. I'm just gonna take it here as a reference into my little work in progress. So if you're just joining today, if that's your day one today, I'm just going to run you through real quick the setup of the file. So if you're literally starting from the welcome page, the home page here in Illustrator, all you have to do is to click on new file and make sure that you're setting up a file for web. The size that we're using for our main art is 500 by 600. I've done a little bit more research here, and you can do up to 2000 by 2000 pixels for your GIFs. I think that 500 by 600 is the minimum, and we will see that for the animation is a minimum of 3 seconds. So those are the standard recommended settings for your GIFs. Remember, here you do want to select your web intent, because we will be producing graphics that are intended to be seen in the web, on the screen. And we were working with a raster effect of 150 ppi. So those were the basics. And once you open your file, you will see here that I have multiple artboards. You can access the artboard tool with a Shift-O, or clicking on the artboard tool located at the bottom of the toolbar, and then just simply click anywhere in order to create an artboard. This will work as a background for you to start drawing. And as you can see, I have here what I call my messy board, which is an artboard that I tend to delete at the end. And another most important setup before you start working in order to join us here is to have a look at the way I've set up my layers. As I said in the past, I tend to set up layers based on in a structural way. So I will have background, text, graphics, overlays. That is usually my structure. If you ever joined one of the challenges that I've done in Illustrator before, or even when I stream with a how-to here on Adobe Live, that you will see that that's the structure that comes with my files or my starter files. For this specific project, because we're going to be working also in Photoshop, I am creating a folder, a layer, a container per each mini illustration, mini graphic. And the reason is, we will see once we jump into Photoshop, is that we have the amazing opportunity of copying and pasting our illustration as layers. So everything that is in the layers and the way that the layers are organized will reflect inside Photoshop layers, which is also very important when animating using the timeline, because we will see that the timeline, actually, because I have the file open, I can show you what I'm talking about here. So you will see that the timeline here and the folders inside the timeline will reflect exactly the same structures that we have inside our layers panel. So the more we keep things organized from the top, literally from your Illustrator file, the easier will be your navigation and the way in which you can work your file through and recognize your elements also during the animation in Illustrator. So far we have we have our Archie Rainbow, our Love Portal, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer by clicking on the plus icon, which is going to be our Proud to Be Me sticker. I'm just going to be like PTBM. There we go. Because otherwise I'm just going to misspell every single word that I write.
I never spell well. I spelled Adobe wrong on an Adobe stream, so don't feel bad about your spelling.
I feel you. For some reason, I spell it in Spanish with a V. I don't know why, although I'm Italian, I'm not Spanish, but that happened as well. Right. So what I'm going to do here is going to make sure that this Proud to Be Me is actually going to go into the right folder, which is I'm actually going to change the color of the folder. And that's another thing. Sometimes the folders have the same color. I found that a bit confusing. If you want to change the folder, the color of your layers, I keep calling the layers folder, because to me are literally containers that will allow you to group your graphics. All you have to do is to double click on it and you will be able to change the color. Now, bear in mind that the color that you choose as to reference your layer will also reflect in the bounding box that you use for your artwork. Therefore, I would recommend you not to use something like yellow, and I'm just going to use it for a second just to prove the point. But if you go ahead and select the yellow, and then we go and we place our proud to be me inside the yellow container, whenever we have an element, look how hard it is to see this bounding box. It's pretty much nearly invisible because again, the bounding box is of the same color, reflecting the same colors of the layers. So I tend to use darker colors for that. In this case, I'm probably going to go with purple here. And then I'm going to press OK in order to change the color of the layer. And now, as you can see, we have these nice and defined darker colors that give us an idea of where the bounding box is located. And we want to make sure to lock, and that will be next to your eye icon. You'll be able to lock the previous one, so the love portal and the Archie Rambo. So here we have our element locked, and we can also move into working inside the work in progress here. So once we have our work in progress, this is just another layer that I use to start creating, and that's again part of my messy layers where I can just go ahead and start to have a play with shapes. So the way in which we create this is starting by using the type tool. Now, I was very prepared with the actual type and the actual font that I use for this. Let's see if I can find my notes somewhere under the sea of stickers. If not, we're just going to go with whatever. But if we want to use exactly the same that I used here, oh, great. I've noted everything, but not that. But it should be Anton. That's one that I use very often. If you want to know, I don't know, just in case we don't get to the time of creating Love is Love, I just had a sneaky peek on my notes. That's called Omnis. But for Proud to be Me is called Anton. So let's go ahead and press the letter T in order to activate the type tool, and then click and drag in order to create a text area. Now, for those of you that have not worked with me before, I'm going to go ahead and have to explain the difference between a point type and an area type. This is so important. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is to double click on my lorem ipsum, which is our filler text that we have inside that comes up whenever we create a new text area. And I'm just going to go ahead and write Proud to be Me. And then I'm going to double click on it and head into my properties panel. Again, if you don't see the layers panel, the properties panel, any panels that I'm mentioning during the stream, remember every panel is live under the window menu. So go ahead and choose window and then click on the right name that you will find for your panel. Then you can hear me mentioning during the stream. In this case, I'm looking for the properties panel. Here it is. And here you will find the character options. Inside the character options, we can go ahead and change the font. I think it was impact. Here it is. And then we can give it a nice and big size, maybe even something like 200. Looks nice and bold. Perfect.
Nice. I didn't realize it was impact, but I feel like I should have recognized it, because impact is, this is true story, impact is the official meme font, like the big bold font they use for memes. I should recognize it.
I always get confused between that and Anton, because I think they're the same. I don't know which one is it. Let me see.
They are very similar. Let
me see if I have it here. Yeah, no, it looks like Anton was the right one for the actual, the B is a little bit similar. Here we go. Yeah, so Baval was right. The font that we were using before impact is the one used for memes. So let's go ahead and bring it up real quick, just so everybody can see what we were talking about, and probably you can recognize, especially I think when he's on black, white on black, is that when you can really see taken life. But what I wanted to show you here is what is the difference between using an area type and a point type? What does it mean, and why is it important to learn the difference between the two? So first of all, let's see, if you do not have the chance to write your full text, perhaps you need more space, and you need to make the area of your text larger. That is the place, that is the moment in which you really want to make sure that you're working with a text area. The text area you can easily recognize because it has these two handles, one located at the right side of your text box and one located at the bottom. The one on the side is a circle, and the one at the bottom is a square. And most importantly, you have the one that is located on the side that is usually filled of whatever color is the same color of your bounding box. Now, by working with the text area, you will be able, like I've just done a second ago, to click and drag the corner of the bounding box, and that will allow you to change the size of the text area. So if you need more space for your text, you will be able to create more space for your text. Now, let's go ahead and move right away from a text area into a point type. And by the way, the reason in which you the way in which you create a point type is simply by using the type tool and clicking once. So by doing so, here we have a point type. So first of all, you can see right away that the handle on the side is hollow, so it's going to be transparent inside, while the one that we have for the area type is filled in. And then we are missing the bottom handle. So can you see? Let's go ahead and select. Unfortunately, you have to select one at a time. The bottom handle with the square is not showing in a point type. And that's the first sign that will let you know by observing on the box of the text if you're working with a point type or an area type. But look what happens. If I go ahead and drag the corner of a point type, instead of creating more space for the text, I'm actually going to be distorting the text. Of course, you can also use the Shift key in order to use this option to resize the text. And you want to hold the Shift key to make sure that you will do so proportionally, so you could keep the same proportion of the text. Of course, you're very welcome to go ahead and distort the text if that's what you wish to do, but that is the main thing. So how do you switch between one and the other? So let's say that you ended up clicking once instead of clicking and dragging, so you created a point type. Well, all you have to do is to double click on the handle. So at the moment here, I'm double clicking on the handle, and you will see that automatically we will have the two handles showing up. Yep, that means that we already have transformed our point type into an area type, which now will allow me to change the size of my box. And therefore I can go ahead and type over and over again, whatever I want, in order to display more of the text. Here it is. And that's the main difference between the two. Also, you can jump back into a point type at any time. So let's see here, we know already that this is a text area. If you want to change into a point type, again, double click on the side handle. And again, here we will be able to quickly resize the text. So it's so easy, but also so important and so useful to know the difference between these two, point type and area type. So here we go. It looks like we are nearly ready with our text. What we're left to do is to make sure to head it to the character option and select align to center. Also, I'm just going to go ahead and reduce the leading, which is the space in between the two, in order to just create a little bit more of proximity. And it looks like we are nearly ready to go. Now, before we move forward, I want to jump real quick and tell you a little bit more about text and what if you want to discover more fonts. So I love fonts.adobe.com. That's the website where you can find many beautiful fonts, but also you will be able to explore the font library inside your app so you can stay focused on creating. So if you go ahead and select the character panel and maybe you do not know which font, I came here already prepared with the font that we're going to be using. But if you're looking for something similar, the best thing to do, first of all, is to use your filter in order to start classifying your font. So in this case, I'll probably go with something that is sans serif, with something that has a heavy weight, and maybe has a condensed look. And right away, you will be able to see that fonts.adobe.com has already narrowed down and filtered the fonts that are on your machine based on the sans serif, heavy weight, and condensed width that we have selected. Now, I want to remember and remind everybody, because I also need to remind myself all the time, if you're then moving forward to look for other fonts, make sure to clear all your filters. You can do so by clicking on clear all, or by clicking on the filter down pointing arrow and select here clear all. If you do not clear your filter, those are sticky, so every time that you go back, they will still be active. And if you're looking for a specific font, there is a good chance that you won't be able to find it, because we already have a narrowed down selection of your font library. So if you click on clear all, in just a second, you will go back and you will be able to search and visualize all the other fonts. Another quick thing that I want to show you is that you will be able to search, filter, and activate your fonts directly from the library online. As you can see, those are all my active fonts, but you can also browse and find more by browsing the Adobe library. And of course, if you want to discover more of the fonts that are available for you, so let me just go ahead and show you. Find more is the place in which you discover the entire library. So the little cloud with the tick are the one that are active from the font library on your machine. It's going to take a second for my internet to pick up here. Looks like we're on the right internet. Yeah, so if we go ahead and click on find more, you will be able to see all the one that you do not have active on your machine, but then you can, as you can see, you can right away sample it on your text. So you see my text is changing just by me hovering. And if you find one that you're very happy with, you will be right away able to activate it by clicking on the little cloud with the down pointing arrow. And by doing so, you will be able to activate it into Illustrator, and that's ready to be used in your project.
I love it. I love it so much. And these, it's really great that you can do all of this stuff, like as far as filtering and hunting for new fonts just within the program. So you never really have to leave. You never have to break that stride. You can stay there and get everything. And I really love the filtering and searching tools for fonts in general, because if any of you folks in the chat are like me, I design a lot, but I'm not really a fonts person. I don't know a lot about fonts. It's not something that I've gravitated towards. And so being able to look at a visual representation of the serif and the sans serif and the different weights and everything can help me visually choose a good font, and also learn a little bit about which fonts I like and what they're called and all that good stuff. So it's really worth it, I think, even to just get in there and explore around and find new stuff. It's a great resource.
Absolutely. And speaking of great resource, it's worth mentioning also fonts.adobe.com, because there is so much more that you can do there. Again, if fonts are not your things, but you just like them, you can always go ahead and choose the recommendations. So here we have different fonts that you can just see what is trending, what do you like, what are the newest one, the staff choices directly from the fonts at Adobe team. They will be able to just suggest you different fonts. And also, I absolutely love what they're doing here. They suggest fonts that work together. So my biggest recommendation is also, especially when you're creating some text, not to use more than top 3 fonts, and maybe just choose at least one font that has flexibility with a family that displays different weights. If you know what I'm talking about, I'm just talking about the possibility of having a light, medium or regular, and bold or ultra black font. So within a single family, you will be able to highlight part of the text. Medium Pro is definitely one who has a large library that will be able to show you. So as you can see, we have regular. So this is still the same font family, but is also displays itself in different weights. So I also suggest to use one font that has a large family, and maybe something else that is a little bit more specific. Like in this case, we have a script next to a sans serif font, sorry. Now, the beauty about that is that I also showcase another thing that I usually tend to suggest when we're working with font. When you are pairing up font, try not to pair things that look the same, because it's just becoming confusing. Your eyes are looking to see different fonts as differences, and they're literally looking for what is called dissonance. So they're looking for the differences in order to understand, oh, so that's a title and that's a thing, and that's the text, that's another thing. So having 2 different fonts that are different will allow your eyes to understand that those are 2 different elements within your page. And I think that here fonts.adobe.com within the recommendation does a great job in suggesting how you can pair up fonts, and you will see this example right away. And also I think it's super cool. Look at that. If you hover on them, it also highlights the font, and by clicking on it, you will be able to access the family. And a step forward, you will also be able to activate it from here. If you select here activate, as you can see, I do not have this Mina active in my computer. If I go ahead and click on activate, and then I go back now into Illustrator, I can go ahead and search it, and I will be able to apply it right away inside my my computer. It probably will just take a second for it to update, but then once it's active, look, my computer is going a little slow, and let's make sure that we have cleared all our filters. I think it was called Mina, wasn't it?
Yes.
Mina. Here it is. So it just needed a second, and then we'll, of course, it doesn't look great having it all caps, but you know, if we just go back, there it is. We could use it as a script. So that's exactly the same font that we activated on the website and is back right away into our machine. So that's a great suggestion to browse. And the very last thing before we go back into designing is actually the font packs, which are also a great resources for you to browse different fonts and to just start exploring. They are divided really, really well. I think the team here has done a fantastic job into splitting. You know, we have these otherworldly, I don't even know how to pronounce that word.
I love that. Otherworldly visions,
which have like quite a lot of fonts that are very popular now. We have some heritage, you know, they're themed very, very well. There are also font pack made by women, which I've used, I think, during Women History Month, and we got fun by women. They have so many also font for documents. There are so many packs. Just go ahead and explore. And also you will be able to browse fonts and find fonts, which I tend to do. I'm a vinyl collector as well, so I tend to take photos of vinyls. So you can find literally images and find photos and find fonts by searching by images. So for example, now if I go ahead here and take a screenshot, of course I know what font is this because we were already working with it. But if you just want to, you know, just to give an example, if you have an image and a photo that you would like to search, maybe you find it on someone else's work and you really want to know what sort of font are they using, all you have to do is to load the image inside the website and you will see that fonts.adobe.com will scan it, will look for it. All you have to do is to highlight, and you can move around, you can choose whatever part of the text of the image you want. And the second step, it will be like, hey, what is it saying here? Is it saying proud 10? And I'll be like, nope, it's not saying proud 10, it's saying proud 2. And then we can go ahead and submit what the text is saying, and automatically we have some matches to my font. So we have right away the opportunity to have fonts that looks like the font that I have sourced through an image. And again, you'll be able to activate it and use it right away onto your machine. So that's such a fast way to find fonts and to explore fonts.
Yeah. And I mean, imagine walking, you know, down the street, you see a billboard or something in a window somewhere, and you're like, that font, I want to use this font or something like it. And you can just get it right there because you can do that through Adobe Capture on your mobile phone too, yes, which is amazing. So it's really great. And by the way, you pulled up that Otherworldly Visions font pack, and I just got it immediately because it is like totally me. I love it so much. So I went and did it. So I have it now.
Yeah. And that's the beauty. You can just go there whenever in your own time and just browse for fonts. And when you least expect it, you will find something that will be your font that you use more often. That happens to me. Yeah. That's one of the ways in which I fall in love with fonts here and there. So let's go ahead and start creating here the illustration with the Proud to Be Me. As you can see, I create a copy by holding the Alt key and dragging the main text here. So again, select all the Option or Alt key, depending if you're working on a Mac or on a Windows. And then I'm going to go ahead and transform these into a shape. Now, you do not have to do so. So I'm just going to keep one that is going to be outlined and one that is not going to be, the one that is going to be live text, because I want to show you the differences there. So I'm going to go ahead and use the shortcut Shift Command O. There will be Shift Control O on a Windows machine in order to trace your font. Again, I love to switch in between the preview mode and outline mode. That will be Command Y or Control Y on Windows, and you can see the difference here. So here what we've done is that we have transformed our text into a shape. There are no way for you to go back. That's why I always say create a copy. This is one of the questions that I get more often. Once I trace my font, how do I go back and edit it? You can't. Once you outline it, there is no way in which you can reverse this, because you literally moved from a live type, and that's why I wanted to move here into the outline mode, because that shows you the difference here. The text, this is again something that is a representation of a live editable text that you have here, and therefore the only real anchor point that we have are on the bounding box around the text. While here on the outline text, the actual text, every single part of your letters has been transformed into a shapes, and you can see the multiple anchor points that are now around our letters. So once we have this translation between text into shape, the best bet it will be for you either to undo or to make sure that you save a copy. I always save a a copy, I always have a work in progress folder or file where I retain all my original fonts. Again, you can always go back and use fonts maybe to find it again if you forgot perhaps the font that you were using, but that's probably the best way to showcase the difference in terms of a shape and a live font. And now we can go ahead and use our effect panel, and I'm just going to pop a question in the chat. There's a little bit of a quiz for those of you that have been with us yesterday. If you remember, if you don't, that's absolutely fine. I'm just going to share it with you, but I want to see who also knows it. So I'm going to go ahead and look for my effects, and I've actually selected the shape and went into the effect menu. Now, yesterday I showed you how you can access the effects from a panel. So if you have any idea, let me know in the chat. Let me know if the question is clear or not. Val, do you think the question is clear enough?
Yeah, I think so. Just where do you find all of that we worked on?
There is a little button at the bottom of a panel. There is a button at the bottom of a panel that says effects, that we used yesterday in order to apply effects there. I think we were doing the plucker, we were doing the little stars. So let's see if anybody's here from yesterday, if you guys remember, we can maybe see if there is anybody in chat or knows how can you access effects in order to apply effects to the shape. Let us know. Otherwise, I will just show you in a minute. You can always, of course, access the effects from the effects menu at the top. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and select 3D materials. Bear in mind, I'm not accessing the 3D materials, which are the new 3D materials preview, technology preview, which is the amazing technology preview. We might have a play with it just to show you how amazing it is throughout the stream. But right now I'm looking for the 3D classics, which is located at the bottom of the 3D materials. And I'm looking in particular for the extrude and bevel classic. So by doing so, we will see that we have here the option of some standard presets. I tend to start from the isometric top, and then in order to rotate it here, all you have to do is to either use the degree on these fields. You can change them as you want, but I tend to just have a look here at our little cube, and it's beautiful how you can just simply rotate it in order to get the inclination of the isometric effect that you desire. You can also change the depth. That would be how high you want your extrusions to be. I like to keep it nice and neat, so maybe something about 40 or 45 will do for us for this project. And then I'm also going to go ahead and remove the plastic shading as we're working with two simple colors, or three different simple colors. Here we go. So here we have already a preview of our text and the way that it looks like. It looks like it's tilted nearly like the previous one. Again, whatever you see on the cube will also be applied. So here basically it's going to tell us that we're going to see the main top surface, and then we're going to see the left side and the bottom side is what is showing. So almost like as if it's leaning flat on a table and we're looking from a corner there. And once you're ready, you can go ahead and click on OK. By the way, if you're playing with this and nothing is happening, so if you are into the extrude and bevel option classic and nothing is going on, make sure to tick that preview button. That will be the way in which you can see the changes that you apply live. And once you're done, simply click on OK, and your file is ready to be edited. Do we have any answer for my tricky question?
Becca Smith is asking if it's in the appearance panel.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Well done,
Congrats,
Becca. So let's go ahead and see how do we find that. Again, if you head on the Windows menu, make sure that your appearance panel is there. All you have to do is to select anything, and then you can find here that at the bottom of the appearance panel, we have this little button called FX, which is actually the way in which you access and apply any effect. By clicking on it, you will see that we have access to all the Illustrator effects and also Photoshop effects. The 3D Material Classic is located under 3D and Materials and 3D Classics. Now, the beauty of working with the appearance panel is that, look what happened. If I go ahead here and then I head under the effect and look for the effect again, he's going to try and add a new effect, and it'll be like, what are you doing? You're applying a new instance. You're already an effect. You're like, no, I just want to modify my previous effect. How do I do that? Well, that's why I wanted to bring up, and thank you so much, Becca, for remembering and for sharing with us. The appearance panel is the place where you have total, complete control of anything that you do to your shapes, text, anything. In fact, look what happened here. I can simply toggle the eye icon in order to undo and see that before and after just real quick. And then if I do want to edit whatever I've done in my effect, all you have to do is to double click into anything that you will be able to access right away, the specific option, the specific appearance that you have applied to your shape, and you can go ahead and make any changes that you want. So absolutely, yes, that was the place. And what I want to show you here is that if you go ahead and apply the same effect here, again, to this live text, you can go back with the appearance panel. And in this case, I just have to make sure that I had the wireframe activated. So I'm just going to change it to no shading and click on OK. But the beauty of working with live text differently from the shapes is that here, even if you have applied your 3D, and I'm just going to go ahead and press the letter D in order to give it just a default coloring of white, fill, and black, so we can actually read and see what's going on here, is that because the text is live here, so let's do our magic trick with our Command Wire, Control Y on Windows. You see, we still have the text which is as an effect applied to it. So the 3D is just an effect, a magic effect that we can see. But at the moment, this is still live text, so stuff that we can edit. And this still looks like the normal outlined text that we had before. So this is just like basically something that you will be are able to preview, but is not being applied yet. So we will not be able to actually access at this stage each single surface that belongs to the 3D. Now, the cool part is that if you left your text active is that you can actually edit it while it's 3D. So you will be able to go ahead and just, you know, change with the text into whatever you want. So you can delete, add, remove, and most importantly, you can also change font. So you can experiment with different fonts as well while retaining the 3D effect. Because as I said, this is just like an illusion that we see applied to our shape and our text. In here, we have just shapes, so that will be the second step. Again, I always recommend you to make a copy of whatever you're using, and that's why I want to, you know, show you. Just try to work with the text first. Once you're happy about your text, you can always undo the 3D effect. But then once you're happy with it, this is the time in which we will be able to outline. Remember, the shortcut to outline is Shift Command O, otherwise Shift Control O if you're working on Windows. And then we're not done yet. As you can see, we still have our anchor points, which are displayed on top, that just basically are showing us the shape to which the effect is applied to. In order to, and that's another question that I get very often. What is the difference between expand and outline? So we just literally see if we outline the text, we go from a live option, so a live text, into transforming and outlining any stroke into a path. So we're creating paths which are delimited by the anchor points. But then if we expand, expanding is something that is applied to effects and allows it to apply the effect. So to expand this effect and to make it and transform it into anchor point and path as well. So look at the difference here. Once I have, let's just go ahead and select this shape with a 3D effect applied to it. If we go ahead and expand its appearance, now we have the bounding box and the shape that is actually reflecting the actual effect. Nice. Now, as you can see, the appearance panel has also changed. So you won't be able to toggle that on and off because it's not a magic effect that is before our eyes, but is actually being transformed into shapes. So hopefully that was nice and clear to before we kept going. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, feel free to ask. I'm happy to always go back. And now that we have access to these shapes, now that we have transformed and expanded the shape, that is the time in which we can start to have access to it by simply double clicking on it. Or yesterday, we also discovered our very useful group selection tool, which is nested under the direct selection tool, which is the number 2 of our toolbar here in Illustrator. Group selection tool, amazing tool that will allow you to simply go ahead and select any item that belongs inside a group. And here, all I'm doing is holding the Shift key in order to select any of the shapes that are located on the top surface of my illustration. Now, if we want to use the same colors, I got that from one of the flags that are part of Pride, I don't remember exactly which one it is. I'm so bad, I probably should remember which flag it is. But if you want to use the same colors, because I'm going to be sharing the main files here, so you will have access to this color palette. The way in which you can lift the color, that's something that we also showed yesterday. I'm happy to just go over it real quick again. All you have to do here is to unlock the layer where we have our Proud to Be Me. We can just select it, and then we can head to our swatches panel. From here, we can click on the little group, color group, which will allow you to lift a color group based on the shape that you have selected. Make sure to click on select artwork and click on OK. And by doing so, you will see that here we have automatically the color palette that is selected there and activated. I'm just going to go ahead and change to large thumbnails, because here probably will be able to see it even better. Here we go. So we have lifted our color palette, and now we can go ahead and apply it to our images. Now, if you're wondering why I'm not using something like the magic wand to make a selection here, is because when we create 3D, it looks pretty awesome, but also there are many hidden shapes behind the 3D that also have perhaps the same appearance of the one that we have here on top. So what I tend to do is to just go ahead and make a copy, and then press the Command C to, again, copy what the selection, Command F or Control F to paste it, and then Command G to group them. So by doing so, I've just lifted and grouped the top surface of our 3D. And now all I'm left to do is to go ahead and apply the color by using our swatches panel. Nice and easy.
Nice. And Nikki in the chat is saying, I didn't know that you could add the colors from the selection into a group. How cool. And I think it's also really awesome. Nikki's also saying, also group selection tool. I will be adding that to my arsenal. Indeed.
Perfect. So let's move on and let's add another fill on top. As we seen yesterday, you can stack. That's another magic power of the appearance panel. I really think that the appearance panel is so underrated. It's such a cool place where you can perform so many activities and create so many transformations to the appearance of any text and object. So what I will do here, as we seen yesterday, we can add multiple strokes and you can layer them up, but you can do the same with fills. So I'm just going to go ahead, in this case, click on the add new fill button. Look at it at the bottom of the appearance panel. So we have add a new stroke, add new fill, the effects. So I'm going to go ahead and select the add new fill to the group. And look at that. It looks like we have now a new fill applied above. And all I'm left to do here is to make sure that I just apply the right color to it. So you can go ahead and choose any color you want, but look what I had there. I actually had a almost stippled pattern. Let me just zoom out so you can actually see this thing that is overlaying here. So it looks like I have all these little dot texture. You can create, of course, your own symbols and your own pattern, and I think that's what I've probably done during the Illustrator Challenge. There is a dedicated Illustrator Challenge that I just finished last week. So if you Google or you see on YouTube or also down here on Behance, I think that there is a specific, I think it's behance.net/challenge/illustrator. That is the place where you can find all the challenges together. There is one and many dedicated on how to create a tile pattern. So I definitely have one from last week that is about creating pattern. But if you do not have the time to create your own pattern, there is a very cool way in which you can access the pattern libraries within Illustrator. So
just a quick note on the daily creative challenges. If you are interested in checking them out, seeing any of the previous challenges, Kladi was right. The behance.net/challenge/illustrator is the place to go. You can join the Discord from that page so that you can do those challenges and share your entries with the community. And you can also scroll down and actually see all of our past sets of challenges if you want to just do a deep dive and go through and take a look at those. So definitely do that and go back to the most recent set of challenges that Kladi has shown us, because they're actually pretty fabulous. So we'll get a link to that in the chat for all of you folks. So definitely check that out.
Perfect. In the meantime, I had the main pages here because I have the shortcuts from my main Google search. So here it is. There are more challenges. Oh, I think they're still on. Perfect. So I think we have, remember which one is the one that we've done the actual, It's definitely one of those in which I've done that.
It's one of these.
One of these in which I've done the actual challenge. Probably it's going to be next. Oh, here it is. Unique seamless pattern. Here it is. So it's the challenge of May 25th. So if you want to create your own pattern, that is the place in which you can do so in under 30 minutes. There's a full challenge dedicated to that. There is also the starter file. So that is the place for you to create your pattern. But what if you do not want to create your own pattern, because that's also an option? Well, that you can go ahead and select your fill, click on the down pointing arrow here, and you can access our libraries. So we have a swatches libraries located within Illustrator. From there, you can go ahead and select patterns and basic graphics, and then basic graphic textures is the one that is my usually go-to. Make sure if you want to have a large thumbnails viewed in order to preview all these beautiful patterns. And here it is. We have a nice and quickly applied my pattern to it, and they're so fun. There are so many of it. I love the little dashes. There is a one that is almost like a grunge map. We have more dots, so you can find many different textures. Look at that.
So are these patterns that you have brought in that you've created, or are these available in
those are part of Illustrator? Yeah.
Oh, so wonderful.
That's what I say. Like, if you don't feel like creating a pattern, those are there for you. Okay. Again, click on the down pointing arrow and make sure that you access your libraries. And from the libraries, you select patterns, basic graphics, and basic graphic texture. I'm just going to zoom in so you can go ahead and see what is the path here. So you go ahead into the swatches library, patterns, basic graphics, and basic graphic textures. I like to give this nice, screen, because usually when I watch videos and people show stuff like that, I try to do like screenshots, and then I never got the right screenshot because everything moved too fast. So I just like to leave it there for a second. Hopefully everybody that needs it,
thank you,
take note of it. Right, and you can go ahead and choose whichever pattern you want.
Also, Becca in the chat, I just want to thank Kladi again for her Illustrator challenge, showing us how to make patterns and getting rid of that white line when you export. It was life-changing. Amazing, Becca. Thank you so much for participating in the daily challenges. You rock. And also, just a quick reminder, we do have an artist spotlight coming up today. For those of you who are familiar with the artist spotlights, you know the drill. But if you've never seen us do a spotlight, basically we will be highlighting a creative from the community, pulling up their portfolio and checking out their work. And if you would like to nominate yourself or another creative for a future spotlight, just check out that tab above the chat there, so you can submit your link or someone else's link if you'd like to nominate them, and they will be added to the pool of folks that we choose for other spotlights. So I'm excited. That should be taking place in about 30-ish minutes. So it's going to be awesome. Yeah, already.
I better move. We have a lot of work to do here. See, that's what I'm saying with the animation. Please, I think you need to be on my case with this, because I don't want to make, I always do that. I always spend so much time in Illustrator, and then I'm like, yeah, and then it clicks these buttons and then animate it. And people are like, yeah, thanks, Kladi. We were here for the animation and you just spent 2 minutes on it. But let's make sure that doesn't happen today. So,
okay.
I think that we're pretty much it with this. As I said, I was just going to show you part of it. It's a little bit tedious to go ahead and select each single part of it. Probably what I really want to show you again here is that you can enter the isolation mode by double clicking on each part. What I tend to do is to select the entire design, and I tend to give it a stroke. Once you give it a stroke, it gives you a very good idea. So let's go ahead and find our properties panel here. I'm just going to go ahead and give a stroke to my design, and then I also make sure that, especially if other parts are black, you can choose any color you want. You always be able to change it. Make sure also that your stroke has rounded caps or rounded corners, so we can hide any sort of spikes that comes out of the corner. But most importantly, once you highlight it, you can start to see the parts of your graphic that are actually split into, and you can keep those if you would like, or if you want to get rid of them, there is a very quick way in which you can do so. We also seen that yesterday. Let's go ahead and use our group selection tool in order to access these two elements, and then all you're left to do once you select them with the shift key is to use your little unite option from the pathfinder. Again, select the one that you wish to unite and make sure to select the unite, which is again an option under the properties panel, and the pathfinder option. That will be the first icon that allows you to unite any split part of your 3D graphics here. So those is the quickest way in which you can unite any area that you wish to make sure that then is the same. So usually during my creation here, I will take a little bit of time to just make sure that I have all the areas that I want to, you know, that I want to make sure that I have the same sort of treatments or the same color. And then probably once you do so, is a nice idea if you can start to apply the color as well, so you don't have to select it over and over again. So you can go ahead and select unite and then apply the color that you wish to apply to it. So in this case, for example, what I tend to do is to select all the bottoms of the actual 3D and apply the same color to it. Again, because I have the color panel already saved into my swatches, that will be so nice and easy, because once I have finished to select them, and I'm probably going to miss some of them, I am sure, you can go ahead into your swatches panel and then simply select whatever was the color that we choose for this specific one. Now, if you look at that, I have my stroke to the foreground. Make sure to press the letter X to swap between the stroke and the fill. So now once we go ahead and select it again, we make sure that we have the fill. Here it is.
Nice.
Looks like I've changed the bottom one, the D as well. So we can just go ahead and perhaps deselect the D. So as I say, this is going to take a moment just to go ahead and select all of them one by one. And that's why I just wanted to show you how you can get there. And that's the final treatment for Proud to Be Me. I just want to jump into some illustration and then perhaps we can go back. If you have any questions regarding, you know, maybe how to achieve this look, I think that is pretty straightforward. Again, it will be the same thing over and over, so we can go ahead and select all the sides. All you have to do is to be consistent, but also maybe not. Maybe it's fun if you change colors. That's completely up to you. You know, I like to show you, as I said, my workflow, but then I find also very, very inspiring to see the way other people work. So if you maybe decide to do different letters in different colors, again, feel free to do so. Is your, you know, is your stickers, use your colors, use whatever technique you like. I'm just going to give you, you know, I just want to apply another color just to show you that that's actually how it is, and it's nice and easy. It will be just the case to go and select each single shapes, and I want to make sure that we do take time for our animation, because I think that that's also very exciting. And then maybe we can go back here in inside Illustrator and talk about illustration a little bit more. But you can see now it's pretty much taking shapes. I think that more I'm talking is almost done, and then all I'm left to do is to go back, select everything, and make sure that my stroke is now set to black. So once I'm done, I can go back and set my stroke to black, and we pretty much, you can see how it is almost done, close to the final, just missing few parts to recolor.
Gotcha.
Perhaps real quick, what we've done yesterday, and that's so useful if you're producing stickers that you want to actually print. I think that's a good tip. So your printer is gonna go absolutely mad if you give them stuff like that is floating around, because once you have a sticker, that's probably not the best example. Let me see if I find something here. There we go. That's probably a good one. So we have a creative jam here, so you can see that we have two different words on the stickers, and we have space in between that is white. So how do we fill that space in between the stickers, so in this case in between our words, before we send it to the printer, so the printer doesn't, you know, go crazy, because it's going to have to do the work for you, or probably just going to tell you that it's not being able to print the sticker. Well, exactly like we done yesterday, click and drag over your entire design. Let's assume that that's actually the finished product, and then press Command C to copy, Command F to paste on top. As you can see, we created a copy, and then I'm going to go ahead with my copy and head to my properties panel and select Unite. So I've literally created one single shape. Oops. Let me see, probably I didn't have a copy there. Let's go ahead and do it again. So I'm just going to make sure that I group everything, copy, and I'm just going to move it out away just to make sure that we do have a copy here. Here it is. We finally have a copy. Again, we're going to unite in order to make sure that we have one single shape out of all of them. And then we're going to go ahead and use our stroke or our offset. That's completely up to you. If you use the stroke, make sure to select the alignment outside the path. And here it will be the case again to use rounded corners, and just you're gonna have to give it quite of a nice heavy weight here in order to fill all this space. I'm just gonna change it onto white so you can really see that happening, and something like that already will be nice. But if you just fill all the space in between, see here, we have all the space even between the letters being filled, that absolutely fine. Don't worry about what is looking inside, because that's going to sit under our shape. So even if the inside is looking a bit messy, looks like the outline of the BE is actually going over the proud, doesn't matter. That just really serves as an outline. In fact, once you're done, you can go ahead and make sure that you outline your stroke. So now that is actually a shape. You can go back and unite it again. If you have all these little bits of the overlapping shape, again, double click in order to access the isolation mode, and then click and drag over it and hold the shift key to subtract from the selection the main outline, and press on the delete key, and nice and easily you got rid of every single element that you didn't need.
Nice.
Now let's change this back into black, because we're going to bring it into our background, and all you're left to do is to just then center it with your illustration. And here it is. You have created an area that you could use. And another cool things that you can do here, and I'm actually gonna make this like that, so we can actually have the white background and we have the outline stroke. So I went a little bit big just because I really wanted to show you, but that is also a great place to promote yourself. So if you're creating stickers, you can also go ahead and create a copy. Again, Command C, Command F to create a copy. And we do need to have a copy, because otherwise when we go ahead and select our type on a path, which is nested under the type, and we click on it, you won't be able to use it. So let's go ahead and see what is going on here. If we click on type on a path and select our stroke, oh, it looks like because we have united this path. Let me see if I can make it work with a compound path. Object, and then compound path release. Let's see. Yes, perfect. So if you have that error, it's because we have made the shape out of uniting different shapes. So that sometimes transform your shape in what is called a compound path. So basically a lot of path brought together. And that's the reason why our type on a path tool wasn't working. All I've done is to select the shape, add under object, compound path, and release. And by doing so, we will now be able to use our type on a path tool, which you can then just simply click, and what you can do here is maybe add your your Instagram handle or whatever else you want. I just went and added mine. It's just at the moment hidden here, and then you can use the handle to bring it inside and outside, and you can just move it around inside your illustration. And of course, definitely make it smaller, because you really want this to be way smaller. You don't want this text to compete with the text of your sticker. That's really just like a very, very subtle way of adding your reference. Maybe just probably something like 25 could do. Nice and tiny. I will probably go ahead and use a different font, but I just want to go jump in Illustrator, and you can just go ahead and place it anyway into this white border. I will probably go to the bottom, but all I'm trying to say here is make sure to use these paths to go ahead and add some of your details, maybe your website. So if you use these as a sticker, in the end, you will also be able to promote yourself with it.
And that's a great thing just in general for those of you who are designing stickers. I can't tell you how many awesome new artists I found online because I saw their sticker tagging like a light pole or something, and they actually put their little handle on it. And I was like, I have to find this person on Instagram. I'm going to. It's a great way to find people who will be interested in your work. So don't forget to put a little tag down there. It's good for you.
Yes. So, and sorry if I went really, really fast on it, but I really want to jump into, I was stretching out of our main theme. It was just an idea, as Val said, is very, very useful. So let's go ahead and head back to our layers because we're ready to jump into Photoshop. We're going to start to animate our love portal. Let's go ahead with our love portal. And as I said, before we start, the layer structure is so important. So let's go ahead and click on the little down pointing arrow under the love portal and see what's going on in here. because that's the time in which we're probably going to have to reorganize our layers. So we have our ellipse, which is then transformed into stars. So as you can see here, we have our compound path because we have expanded the circle into the star. If you're unsure about what is what, you can just simply click on it. On reverse, if you would like to find something within the layers, and maybe like me here, you ended up with a lot of layers now, so you don't know where is what and what is what, you can simply select the item that you want to find, and then you can use the little locate object, I don't know, magnifying lens that is located at the bottom of the panel. And once you click on it, it will automatically highlight the layer that is inside the layers panel for that specific object. And then if you want to be double sure that that is the right layer, you can go ahead and use the little eye icon in order to use the little shape there. So what I'm going to do here is to start naming my layers properly. So this is my star 1, and I'm going to go ahead and copy the name so we can nice and quickly move forward. And the compound path, which is usually the border that is sitting around our shape, I'm just going to go ahead and delete it because, as I said, I'm just really going to try and be as neat as possible with my layers. I want less layers as possible because we're going to have to, you know, make sure that we animate it there. Let's go ahead. I don't know what I've done with my star number 1. Did I actually delete the star? No.
Michelle is saying I need to add my Instagram handle to my stickers. You should. You totally should. I actually created some stickers myself, Michelle, as I mentioned earlier, and I forgot to put my handle on them. And I don't recommend this, but I did go in with a Sharpie.
Oh, yeah.
And just because I still left that empty white space around the edge, like had like a nice little border. So, you know, it's a great place for a little self-promotion, you know. You should do it.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, when people love your work, they will appreciate having the chance to get in touch with you, even just to say, hey, I got your stickers. So as you can see here, all I'm doing is literally to organizing my stars. So I have all the star in a specific group. And then here we have more group. We have our clipped rectangle there. So that's our mask. And then all we need here is our group. And that's going to be our love spiral. I don't even know how to spell that. I'm just going to call it love portal. And I'm just going to call it rotating. So I know that this is the element that is going to go ahead and rotate. Perfect. So as you can see, all I'm doing is literally, you know, renaming layers. And here then I have the frame, which is absolutely fine. I'm just going to go ahead and call it door frame. Portal frame should be instead of a door. Perfect. And as you can see, I have been quite neat and organized with my little group. I can go ahead and bring everything inside the portal. Again, try to be very organized with your layers. The less layer you have, the better it is. Again, so here we have the star and the portal, and that's going to make a lot of sense now that I'm going to jump into Photoshop. Before I jump into Photoshop, one thing that is super useful is that Photoshop has a clipboard that enables you to save the size of whatever you have selected in other apps like Illustrator. So if I now go ahead and select my portal and press Command C to copy, or Control C if you're working on a Windows, and then I head into Photoshop, you will see that once we are on the main Photoshop welcome screen, if I press Command N, I have already here an option, which is a clipboard of the actual file that I'm working with. So I know already that this is the size, perfect size that will fit my file. You can go ahead and rename a portal. By the way, these are vectors, so you will be able to scale them before bringing it into Photoshop. So for example, as I said, I now found out that, you know, the maximum size is 2000 by 2000. If you wish, you can make it bigger. Absolutely, you can do so. And then you can just stretch the vector, because that's the beauty of working with vector. They are scalable. You can make something as small as a sticker and as big as a billboard that will cover an entire building because of the little anchor point, which are mathematical function that you can stretch and expand without losing resolution and definition of your image. So let's go ahead and name our file and then click on create. And as I said, I haven't done anything. This is literally lifting the same sides from our Illustrator file that we have selected. And then all I'm left to do here is to press Command V or Control V on a window, and we have this brand new option that will allow us to have layers inside Photoshop. So magic.
It's my favorite new thing. 100%. Being able
So
to
cool.
copy paste, and I'm not just adding an image, but all of the different things that come with what I'm bringing in from Illustrator. So,
super, super cool. So we can go ahead and select on OK. Now it's telling us that there is a clipping mask. Do you want to rasterize it? Do you want to as a vector mask? I'm going to keep it as a vector mask, although we don't have to do much with it. What happened to our stars? I think I haven't selected stars. Let's go ahead and delete. I just want to make sure that everything is in position, and I'm just going to go ahead and select all of the portal and the star. And because the main size, the stars are contained inside my portal, I'm fine with the size. Again, I'm fine with the vector mask, and here we are. So now, as you can see, I have these 31 layers. And if I go ahead and click on the down pointing arrow, we have our love portal, we have our stars, we have our star 1, 2, 3. So that paid off. The effort of keeping our project into a single container, naming the layers appropriately, is such a bliss. Everything is here. We have our little layer that we have to our frame. We have our rotating love portal, which is already telling us what is the thing that is going to be rotating. As you can see here, we have different paths. What I'm going to do is to right click on this layer and transform it into a smart object. The reason why I'm also transforming into a smart object is because we're going to apply a transformation which is called rotation, and we will not be able to do rotation transformations unless our layer is a smart object. We will see the difference into other layers as well. So we can move things around, but when it comes to rotating things, you must transform your layer into a smart object. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring myself forward and transform these into a rotating love portal into a smart object. If you're not familiar with Photoshop, you will be able to see and distinguish the difference between a layer that is a smart object or not by this little icon located inside the thumbnail. By the way, if you're wondering, what are you talking about? What is this smart what? Smart object work as a container. I'm going to go ahead and quote my lovely friend and also a speaker presenter called Teresa Jackson. She has also amazing courses on LinkedIn. I had the chance to hanging out with her when I was in Washington last month. She called them safe deposit box, and I think that that's a great way of referring to smart objects, because they are safe deposit box that allow you to lock in, contain your different shapes. In fact, if I'm going to go ahead and double click on it, you will see that we have a brand new layer that will open up, sorry, a brand new document that will open up that actually contains the original of every single image that was part of the smart object that I've created. But most importantly, I can go ahead and apply any sort of modification, transformation, filters to this layer, and the safe box that the smart object will preserve our original pixel that will stay pixels that will stay untouched. So you will always be able to go back. Is one of the king or queen of working non-destructively in Photoshop. That is so important for you to make sure that whatever you do, you'll always be able to go back to the original pixels, to the original image that you brought in.
That's like the golden phrase, working non-destructively. And I did not used to work non-destructively. I used to erase like parts of raster layers and all of this stuff. It was so bad.
And hours then and hours of work.
Yeah, maybe let's use a mask or a smart object in this case. So many different things, and changed my life. Yes. Work non-destructively. You will not regret it at all.
And then it's super cool. You can always go back. You can always rasterize it if you need to. There are certain tools in Illustrator that require you, like content aware or background removal, that will require for you to have a rasterized layer. And there is another, perhaps the easier way of working non-destructively, which is exactly what we were doing in Illustrator. Just simply create a copy. Select your layer, Command J. Although, of course, that is recommended if you're working with a single image, then maybe you have to just do a few changes to. If you're working on a larger project, that would be a little bit crazy because you ended up with many copy, and you do not want to do that. So let's go ahead and delete the copy. As you can see here, this is our layers panel. We have exactly the same layers that mirror our Illustrator layers. And now let's go ahead. If you do not have your timeline, you can go ahead and select window and make sure that you select timeline, which is the place in which we can make our animation happens. So I'm just going to go ahead and move I just couldn't see the chat
We got,
anymore. There is a question.
Mick Garrison is saying, is that Paste as new layers, Paste as layers a new feature, or just one I've never noticed before? It's a newer feature, I would say.
It's being released in Max.
Yeah,
so
and
it's nearly a year, probably be less of a year old.
Yeah, so it's I would say, you know, it's one of the newer ones as far as new Max. Definitely a game changer. Sinlagas, welcome in. It's good to see you. Also, hello and welcome to everyone that I have not mentioned by name yet. It's good to see you, Laura and Doctor Who. I just want to point out, Kladi, I don't know if you've noticed this, but our friend in chat, Doctor Who, their username is the Dreamweaver logo turned to the blue color of the Doctor Who callbacks because it's the same initials for Doctor Who, and it cracks me up every time I see it. That is perfect.
Talking about branding.
Yep, serious branding there. Yeah, so definitely also keep in mind, folks, that in about 15 minutes, and this is also for you, Kladi, reminder, 15 minutes, we're going to have the artist spotlight. We're going to be checking out a wonderful artist from the creative community and giving them a highlight, checking out their portfolio. And if you would like to nominate yourself or another artist for a future spotlight, definitely check out the artist spotlight tab above the chat so that you can submit your own link to your portfolio or someone else whom you admire and would like to nominate. And all of those will be added to the pool of the portfolios that we choose from when doing spotlights in the future. So check that out. And I hope everyone is enjoying the show, but we're about to dive into some animation. So let's get back to it.
Let's do it. So let's go ahead and select the timeline. The timeline panel is usually sitting at the bottom. Now I have it here on the side, just because again, it's my preference. You can have it as a floating panel. I have it docked on the side. I just liked the opportunity of having a look at my file while I created all on the side. And also it's quite nice because otherwise it'd be sitting behind our head. So also perhaps I have it here for streaming. That is absolutely up to you. You can place it wherever you fancy. Mm-hmm. The most important thing is that you will be able to see your image that you want to animate while you have your panels open as well. Now, it will say if you're opening for the first time, create frame animation. So in order to switch between a frame animation and a video timeline, all you have to do is to click on the down pointing arrow and make sure that you select video timeline. And once you do so, you can click on the video timeline button, and here we have this panel. So let me go ahead and show you real quick what is this panel about. So first thing, as I said, we have the mirroring of your Illustrator layers inside the Illustrator, inside the Photoshop layers panel, and we will also have these mirrored inside our timeline panel. So if I go ahead and open our folder, here we have our exactly, as you can see here, we have our star, love portal, and those are exactly the same layers. I'm just going to bring it together so you can see we have our layers that are mirrored inside our timeline, because those are exactly the thing that we're going to be animating. We're going to be animating the object that reside inside the layers. So every time that you open a layer here, you will be able to do exactly the same inside the timeline panel. And also you can here have another option to click on the down pointing arrow per each single element or per each single layer, and you will also be able to apply all these different transition in terms of position, opacity, style, or vector mark position. The reason why we have the vector mark in this particular case is because we have imported our shapes as vector masks, sorry, not mark. And we also have the opportunity of see that this is a vector mark because we have this little icon at the bottom of the thumbnail. If we do end up rasterizing these, you will see that the option here of the vector mask animation will also go away. Mm-hmm. And therefore the standard animation for a rasterized layer is based on its position, its opacity, and the styling that you can apply to the layer. But in this case, as we see, the first thing that we're going to be tackling is our portal and our portal frame. Here we have, let's go ahead and find our rotation. That's why it's so important. Here it is. We have our rotating love portal. So look how easy it was to identify the item that we need to rotate. As I said, those are the standard position, opacity, and style. You will see the position when you do have a smart object, and this is the reason why we have transformed our many elements into a single smart object. We will be able to, instead of just have a change of position, we'll be able to have a complete transformation in animation. So if you just see position and you want to end up and having a look and having transformation for your animation, just like I do, make sure that you transform your file into a smart object. And by doing so, I'm just going to go ahead and show you real quick on this star number 1. Again, if I right click on the layer, create, convert to smart object, and let's go ahead here, you will see that we have now the option to transform this layer as well. Perfect. So real quick before we move forward, another quick introduction to the timeline. Each single line here that we have next to our layers name is called track. Those are the track that that will play out during the animation. Then we have the playhead, which will allow you to move in time. These two little brackets at the top will delimit the beginning at the end of the animation. Many people try to change the length of the animation by moving the brackets on top. You cannot do that. You can change the length of the animation by clicking and dragging on the single track. We see here that our track duration is 5 seconds. We see that we can now move it inward or outward in order to change the duration. 5 seconds is completely fine for us. As I say, the minimum for a GIF that you will be able to publish on your Instagram is 3 seconds. So make sure there is anything above 3 seconds. I think 5 seconds, 4 seconds is pretty reasonable for an Instagram feed animation. Perfect. What else here? We have a play, which is very important in order to move our playhead. And then we're going to discover in a second our little keyframe that will allow us to pin the position or the transformation of any specific object inside a specific time. So let's go ahead and start by using this transformation here. Now, how do you lock and how do you create a first keyframe? So a first photo of a specific position in time. So first of all, make sure that you drag your playhead anywhere you want in time. At this case, I'm just going to bring it to the very origin. And then I'm going to click on this time spot next to whatever is the transformation that I want to apply. Again, here is the little transform. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on it. And you will see that we have a little keyframe that appears here. It looks like a yellow diamond on the main track. So this is telling us at this specific point in time, this is the position, that's how this item looks. Now I'm going to go ahead and move towards the middle of my track, and I'm just going to go ahead and press our Command T to start our transformation. And we have here our bounding box, and all I have to do is to hover on the corner of our bounding box in order to start transforming. And what I'm going to do here is to hold the Shift key and just start moving in order to have the rotation in place. Oops, just like so. And once you're done, just press the return key. Now, if you just want to go ahead and see, we pretty much already done the most of the job. I'm just going to go ahead and now bring the track to the very end, and I'm going to go ahead and press the Command T and finish with my second transformation here. So I'm just going to bring it back and finish this final circle. So once I go ahead and I start moving and pressing play, or also the space bar that would allow you to play your transformation, you will see that our love portal will keep moving forever and ever and ever. Good. Now, something else that I want to mention, if you're approaching animation for the first time, remember, whenever two events in times are closer to each other, just think about it. When something happens in a closer time, that means that happens very fast. So if you can see, if I now move this middle, and that's why I had this middle keyframe here to show you. If I move the keyframe towards the first one, so we are narrowing the time between the two, the animation will happen very fast, and then it would just slow down, which is also a really cool effect. But again, and then the difference, if you want to slow it down, just make sure that you separate the events. So you just simply move the keyframe distant in time. So I'm just going to go ahead and move this keyframe far away from the first one. And because the transformation between the first point and the second point are distant in time, that means that the transformation will take longer. So if I now go ahead and play, you will see that our spinning wheel will spin slow and then faster, because of course we made the space between the last two be closer, so being faster. And here it is. So we have our main animations. You can see it took pretty much a minute just to make it happen. Do we have time to do the little stars before the
we have about 8 minutes, so we could do the little stars. I do want to point out though, I really love that you've made that point about moving the keyframes, because when I first started doing animation in Photoshop myself, I didn't really understand. I keyframed a bunch of stuff and I thought, well, that's not where I want those keyframes to be. So I started dragging them around, and I was like, why does it look totally different if I'm just moving the keyframes? And it's like, you're moving these keyframes. For those of you who have no experience in animation, if you jump in to do this, you're moving those keyframes. And yes, each of those keyframes is tied to a particular action or a particular interaction. But as Kladi says, if you move one closer to the other, even though the first keyframe and the third keyframe, you're going from point A to point B, moving that one in the middle means that that first transition is going to happen much sooner, or maybe much farther in time, and it's going to transform it. So I did not keep that in mind, Kladi, when I first did, and I moved my keyframes every which way and was like, what have I done? what did I do?
We all started like that by experimenting.
Yeah.
So I was just keeping the wheel spinning. I think it's just super fun.
It's great.
And we have 8 minutes, so I'm just going to go ahead and start by animating the stars. In this case, I'm just going to play with the opacity. So again, the opacity will reflect the actually opacity of the layer. And what I'm going to do here is to select my first star. And again, look how cool. Whenever you select a layer, because those are the mirror of the layers of the tracks inside the timeline, it also changes what I'm selecting here, and vice versa. If I'm selecting a track here, it will also select automatically a different layer inside my layers panel, because again, those are mirroring each other. So when you're animating, is very important, especially if you have a file with many layers, to name your layers so you know what you're animating. Although star 1, 2, and 3 is not really giving me, much direction, but at least I know if I need to find them inside the layer stack where they are. So as I said here, I'm just going to go ahead and play with opacity. We have the opportunity to play with the entire opacity of the entire folder. So if you want to move them at the same time, let's go ahead and have a look. How does it work here? So if we select our star folder, we will be able again to apply a specific status to a specific time that is indicated by a keyframe. Again, a keyframe is going to create a snapshot of a status of your layer at that specific time that your play head is set to. So now we have pressed the little time stop here with a head stop located at the origin of our animation, and therefore we have created our first status where we go ahead and see the opacity of the layers is set to 100%. So what I'm going to do here is to just go ahead and move the playhead in time, and then I'm just going to go ahead and select my opacity and move the opacity to 0. And you can see, because we have now applied a change of status, we have a new keyframe that is automatically being generated, because Photoshop is already seen that there is a change in that specific status that we're triggering, which is the opacity of the layers, in this case of the group, is being changed, and therefore we need to mark this change. And in fact, if we go back and we play the animation, we'll see that from point A to point B, we have this transition from opacity 100 to opacity 0. Now, what happens if we want to flash something? So that's a question that I get all the time, because if we go from 100 to 0, we have this slow change of opacity, and with this transition, what if you want something to like flicker like the star? Well, all you have to do here is to make sure that you create a change of status again near to each other, because again, the shorter the time to which a transition happens, that means the faster it happens. And what the flickering is basically a transition of opacity just happening very fast. So it's light and it's on and it's off and it's on and it's off. So all you want to do is to make sure that you add here a new keyframe very close to the one that is located to 0%. Again, you do not need to necessarily create a keyframe. You can just change the opacity and you will see that it will create it for you. And then right away, just move your playhead a little bit to the right. Again, very, very narrow space, and then set it again to 0, and then move it again and set it to 100 as many times as you want. So if we now go back, we'll see the difference between changing the transition and then having it literally flashing. Maybe that's a little bit too fast. You can always go ahead and zoom in by using this little slider here at the bottom, and it looks like that maybe we can give it a little bit of space in between of this animation, again because it was happening a little bit too fast. The flashing, it was nearly not visible, and you can always bring your playhead back and see how that is now happening again. So you can do that as many times as you want, but you can also click and drag to select your playhead. So if you want that to repeat, make sure that the last one here, we have it 100%. This one here was a 0%, so maybe I would just create a new keyframe here by clicking on the little diamond to add a keyframe wherever the playhead is set. And then I'm just going to go ahead and click and drag to select all these keyframes. Like usually when you click and drag over any element to select them, you can do the same, click and drag over them, then bring your playhead over the first one, right click on it and make sure that you select copy, bring your playhead to the very last one, and right click again and select paste. Now bear in mind, you do need to have a playhead already in place in order to paste the action, and boom, it automatically has pasted the same animation again. So if you have something again like a flicker effect that you want to happen over and over again, it would be a bit annoying just to repeat that over and over again. So you can just simply create a couple and then just have it flicker just by copying and pasting the effect.
Nice.
Now do we have 1 more minute? Because
we do have about exactly 1 minute here. So if you want to work for another minute, and then we'll switch over, and then I'm sure we'll have time after our spotlight to come back and visit. But yeah,
let's see if we jump into the rainbow real quick. So what I want to do here is, now we're working with all the stars, but I kind of like it when the stars were just moving independently on their own. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring this back a little, and then probably that will give me the chance to maybe paste another set of flickering here. Perfect. So what if I just want this effect to happen to one single star? Well, as I've done before, you can go ahead and click and drag over your little keyframes in order to select them all. Again, you can hold the shift and select it just like you will do with any other object. Then make sure to click and drag and place the player to the very first one. Click on Control and select copy in order to copy this animation. And then you can go to any single layer track you want. So in this case, we can maybe make that happen for our star number 2. So if we go into the position here and we go ahead and create our first keyframe. Maybe we need to rasterize that first. So let's go ahead and rasterize this layer here. So we get rid of the mask. And now that we have our keyframe, we can go ahead and click on Control and paste. You will also be able, and also it was opacity. See, Photoshop is a little bit as a better attention span than me. We were actually working on the opacity by simply clicking and dragging on the opacity. What we've done here is paste that effect to to just one star rather than the entire group. That means that I can go ahead and click and drag over this one here, which is applied to the main group, or we can just simply click on the time spot on the little time stop. It's called time stop, the little icon there.
That is, I'm trying to look.
It looks like one of like that.
Your screen is slightly small for me. Like a time stamp. Yeah. Oh, the stopwatch.
Stopwatch. Yeah. So and click on the time, the stopwatch. So what is it called again?
Stopwatch. Yeah. Timestamp I feel like works though.
Yeah. Timestamp in order to erase all the keyframes. So if you click on it, as you can see, we just got rid of all the keyframes there. And now we have the same effect that is only applying to one specific star. And of course, all you're left to do now is just to go ahead and browse all the different stars and apply whatever level of opacity you want in order to make sure that they will all flicker. And again, I have a little final product here. As you can see, we have many different flickering effects coming at a different time, which really convey the magic. And we're probably going to have a stop here before we export. And then I will show you how to export it and actually how that gets used on I'm just going to post something on my stories here live so we can show how it works. And then if we have time, hopefully we can jump into the rainbow animation. Just going to play just 1 second before we transition into the artist spotlight, just to keep everybody excited about this.
Yeah, I love it. It is so awesome. I cannot wait to see how we did this. But before we dive into that, it is, as Kladi said, time for the artist spotlight. So we are actually going to pop over to the page here. We're going to check out our awesome artist. And I think, are you going to pull that up, Kladi?
Yes.
Actually, yeah.
Yes, I think that if Paco help us out and just bring us, we have our amazing Paco with us all the time
screen
into our full screen, so I can then
there we
go ahead and find the link real quick. Thank you, Paco is always there helping us out, so I can bring up our Behance where we have a drum roll, our artist spotlight. We have Nuno Diaz, graphic designer and illustrator based in Braga, Portugal. Fantastic. So we can go ahead and explore any project. We have also some features in Illustrator and illustration. As we can see, we have many illustration project here, and I love it. Like, you don't have to have millions and millions of projects. That's something that I always try to say to everybody that I work with. Make sure that you select your favorite project, the one that you're happy with, and the one that you want to be hired to do over and over again. So we can definitely see how this wonderful project will give Nuno Diaz more work in illustration for sure. So I'm just going to go ahead and start by the one that is being featured in Illustrator and illustration. And Val, I'm happy to do this together. So I don't know if you can see my screen, and if you...
I can, yeah.
Perfect. If there is anything that you want to say in particular, I just found those so lovely and such a consistent look in the illustration.
I really love the style of, like, if you scroll to where the magnifying or microscope is, and like the blood transfusions and all that stuff, it's like so stylized, but also so simple. And I love how much detail, very consistent, as you said, but there's so much detail, even though really it's only simple shapes that are being used, and yet I can read exactly what it is, and it looks very detailed. Cool, I can imagine it.
All the bones.
I know. That is so neat.
So well done. And again, like the level of details, I think that helps a lot when you have so many details to work without a stroke outline. So Nuno, fantastic job. The colors here, and even here, look how subtle it is. We have perhaps 3 different blues going on this top part here of the microscope, but that is a flat 2D illustration, but it gives really it shapes up the actual 3D object, but just by changing the shades of colors. And those are just rectangles. So that's why I say those are like the power of creating shapes by starting with using simple shapes. I think that Nuno does a fantastic job. So we have a cylinder here, which is this part that is literally created by 1, 2, 3, 4 rectangles that make a bigger rectangles. If you want to really break it down, I wish I could go in outline mode and just see the shapes like we've done before. But what a fantastic job. And look at here at the syringe, we always have like this nice, neatly, so neat and so organized. I would love to see your outlines, Nuno. Such a fantastic job.
I wonder if Nuno has actually posted this at the bottom, or did they post the outlines?
Ooh, let's see.
Because I'm not sure, but we do have some in this one to scroll through, so maybe we will get lucky. Beautiful. Oh wait, can we show the baby? There's a little baby.
Look at the ghost. Right there. For some reason, I'm more attracted by the ghost.
Okay, I might like the ghost more too, but I just love it. So that's adorable.
That's so cute. I love the way that he's wrapped. It's so cute.
Yeah, little
with
swaddle.
A little curl. Super cool. We have the of course I was attracted by the hallucinations. No wonder. Caffeine and hallucination is my thing.
Oh, it looks like Michelle is taking off, by the way. Thank you so much for popping in, Michelle, and hanging out with us. I really appreciate you spending time with us today. And if you want to come back and watch the rest of the show, you can always come back to the replays later for anything you missed.
Absolutely. I look forward to see you. And I just want to say hi to her. She reached out also on Instagram before the stream. So thank you so much. I thank you for being here and for joining us. Sorry, I'm mesmerized by like how consistent. And I love that usually people, when they are so, you know, when the project is so well organized, that usually comes up in one single page, which is so hard then to review. Well, looking here, it's actually created probably one single project, but then he also took the time, because you can see here that the background is actually split. So we are talking like beyond creating the actual illustration, just also finding the time to understand how to better display. So here we have the actual project. See that it kind of moved together in between the two different splits of topics that is illustrating, but at the same time you can just access it as a single file, so you can actually really have everything. And again, like great details here, and I absolutely love the consistency, the color palette. Such a fantastic work. No wonder it's been published. It's actually beautiful. You can see more icons here. So look at the brain. That's so fun.
That brain
and look
is
at these
strong.
video tutorials.
Yeah,
that's so cool. Again, I think you got the point. Is the beauty of the simplicity and richness of details at the same time. I think that's hard to achieve, and Nuno does a real fantastic job.
I really have my eye on that meteoric typeface there.
I knew that was gonna catch your attention, like, my friend.
The colors, the branding for this it just grabs me right away, and I love it. A playful three-weight type family featuring a soft and rounded sans serif. Okay, cool.
So cool. Look how the A is just so simple with a little dot there, and I love the P and the H. Yeah, it really is soft sans serif. I really like it, and it's got a good combination of lines as well. That A looks, the capital A looks like a video game logo, you know, like if you're gonna play like a space game or something. It's very strong. It's a very strong symbol. Super cool. Let me scroll down, and again, I love how everything is like detailed. Even at the background, we have our little stars, our little shapes.
We do love the stars. I think we've both said that we love it. Oh, it's multilingual.
So beautiful.
Amazing.
So we have all the different oh, look at that. We have some space.
Wow. Oh, I love it.
Sorry, I'm making a mess.
Ray guns. That's so cool.
Let's go back to it. There we go. Sorry, Nuno, I'm not doing enough justice to your project with all this zoom left and right.
Oh, look at the flying saucer. Oh my gosh. This project, like the case study, this is gorgeous. This is so cool to me.
Such attention to detail.
To infinity and beyond. Yes.
Houston, look at that. We have ligature. Look at the detail and illustration, like not only creating the typeface, but also creating the illustration that are behind the typeface.
I love it.
And it's also for sale, so you can actually buy it from My Funds, Your Work for Them, and Creative Market. And also you will be able to let's give it a like. And let's give Nuno a follow. Absolutely. And you can also check here his different channels. As I say, we're going to be heading to Instagram, so we also have the Instagram here. Well, we have all his work and illustration, but let's jump back real quick into I want to just check real quick. I know that we're going to
origami. Let's do it
in terms of time, but we have more typefaces. We have 2 origami. One is called origami. Oh, they're both called origami. Let's see. And also we can see the evolution of his project. So here we can see that single image that I was talking about. That's probably one of his first project there. And definitely you will see how much is evolved with that meteoritic typeface. So it's so nice when you can actually see when the style evolves of an artist. And look how beautiful is this as well.
Oh, that's
so
gorgeous.
Considered.
Yeah,
we have some textures as well. Look at that. Oh, it's actually a texture.
Oh, it is. It's a pattern back there. Oh,
so subtle.
Well done.
So subtle. It's so beautiful when you see someone that puts so much effort in their work. We're like, hey, can we talk? I love what you're doing. And I think that those projects are great conversation starter. And even this little highlight on the serifs. I love how this font is so nice and long, but we still have the serif, which usually belongs, usually long fonts are like more displays. But this one, it just kept the serif characteristics, although is a slab serif font. Oh, very Chicago.
All these are great. That's
so beautiful.
Yeah, gorgeous.
So make sure to go ahead and give Nuno Diaz a follow, or I think, I must have just followed the project. So yeah, just go ahead and click on follow. And also, just if you want to have a look, is behance.net/Nuno Diaz. Of course, we have our lovely Kladi bear that has already shared the link in chat. So you can just click on it in order to keep going and explore. Oh my gosh, look at this. They're so beautiful. Nuno, congratulations. Such an amazing work. Lovely portfolio.
I'm gonna have to practice my illustration in this style, because this just made me like want to design. And then now we're gonna dive back into your illustrations and things, and it's gonna make me want to design more. So I know what I'm gonna be doing for the rest of the day is just Illustrator.
So what I'm going to do here is right away show you how to actually apply these inside Instagram. I think it's nice to have the time here before we left, like with the literally 5 minutes.
Yeah, we got about 10 or so minutes before we will have to take off. So
perfect. So I'm just going to show you real quick how to do that. And then probably I will use the file of the rainbow just to show you the actual parts. So you can recreate that yourself. So I'm just going to go ahead and see how we get my phone to work here real quick. And before doing so, let's go ahead and bring this here. Let's try to move everything away. Let's bring our QuickTime. Perfect. So this is my phone. Welcome to my world of anime. I'm a big I love all the Ghibli movies, and that's
same.
Kiki here. One of my cat is also called Kiki. I don't know if you guys can see my little, that's just a little screenshot of my phone. And I'm just going to go ahead and dive into Instagram here. And I'm just going to go and just simply take a photo of my behind the scene here. So let's go ahead and just take a little photo. Sorry for giving you my hair at the back.
It's fine.
In camera. So here we go. I just took like a quick photo of what is literally behind me right now. And then all I'm left to do is, of course, all you're left to do is to just simply maybe drop your GIF. Oh, we need to export it. We need to export it. We haven't exported yet. So let's leave the phone there. It's not going to go anywhere. We already took a photo. We are on Instagram. We know how to do that stuff. Everybody knows to do that stuff. So let's just go ahead and export it first. So once you've created your animation, all you have to do is to click on the top flyout menu from your timeline panel, and then select render video. Here, your first option will be the H2 format, and that's the way in which you can export it as an MP4. This will allow you to transform it into an actual video. Now, in order to have your file running in things like Instagram, what we need is not an MP4, but an actual GIF. So remember, if you're looking to just have a looping video, you also have to select loop playback before rendering and then select render. Now, in order to export it as a GIF, we have to head under File, Export, select Save for Web Legacy. And from here, we will have the opportunity to open our Save for Web, which will allow us to save our file and export it as a GIF. Here also, if you wish to export these as a looping animation, make sure to loop the animation to forever. And also you can have a little preview of how it looks like. So once you click on play, you will see all the different frames. We have 150 frames. There are plain. You can also have a matte. You can choose whatever color you want. I'm going to set it to black because that's the color of my outline here of my last line. And then once you're done, all you have to do is to select save, select a destination folder. I'm going to call this one Love Portal New because I already have one saved, and just simply click on save. Now you can email it to yourself. You can WhatsApp it to yourself. You can do whatever you want. You can airdrop it to yourself. In this case, I have a Mac and an iPhone. So what I've done, just simply go into the airdrop, and I have airdropped the animation inside my images. So If I now go back into my mobile here, once I have my file that is an actual GIF, and by the way, once you open your GIF, if you try to open in your computer, it will just shows you all the different breakdown of your frames. So that's absolutely fine. But once you have it on your phone, let's go ahead and oh, that's Frida.
Oh, hello, Frida. Sweet baby.
So I love her. Yes, she's super, super sweet. All we're left to do here is to make sure that we have our images. So here it is. That's the GIF that I have already brought into my phone. And that's just simply within my photo book. All I'm left to do is to make sure that I copy. So I'm just going to go ahead and select copy photo. And once you have your photo, and yeah, it's going to call it photo, even if it's a GIF, and you open your Instagram, it will pop up and it will say add stickers. And here it is. So now if I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to use the hashtag Adobe Live. So you guys can search Adobe Live. Oops, I can't spell Adobe Live. And then maybe we can use a very specific hashtag like Kladi and Val.
Hey,
so you guys can find us right away. You can just use that and add music, add whatever you want. You can resize it because we made it of the right size, and we have our little sticker here. So I think that I also have the rainbow that we made yesterday. You can also access that by heading here from your little photo. There is an option that will allow you to add your photo. If I can actually find it, here it is. So we can have the other sticker that we created yesterday. This is just a sticker that doesn't move. It just sits there. But again, you can place it whatever you want. I'm just going to place it here. I'm going to put my little portal there and have our sticker, whatever, sitting on a shelf. Here it is. So we have our magic items. And then maybe we're going to add, let's see if we can add one of the stickers from our Pride Week. So we have also our stickers that will give us our little Pride wheel. And then all you have to do is to share it to your stories. So now if you go on my stories, you will be able to see the animation that we have created. And then you can create by using Illustrator and Photoshop together, and just simply plays out inside your stories. So it looks like it's still loading. And if you now just search the hashtag Kladi and Val or Adobe Live, you should be able to find it nice and easy. Or you can simply head at I am Kladi, which is my my Instagram, and you will be able to find it there. So I thought that it was quite cool to be able to show you live how that works. And how much time do we have, Val?
We have about 5 minutes. Right. So honestly, so if you want to dive into another thing or two, you can, but we do need to wrap it up. Want to do a wrap up and a recap and everything coming up soon.
Yes. So if you haven't watched, if you're just joining in, if you want to watch how to set up your Photoshop file, just please go back and watch the replay, because as I said, what we have to do is just simply copy and paste the layers files from Illustrator into Photoshop. Here is the rainbow that we have created yesterday. Again, so this is available. Sorry.
I said so cute.
That is also available on the replay from yesterday. Now, what I really want to show you here is the most important thing is that you create a mask from the original rainbow. So I'm just going to go ahead and hide this mask because I really want to show you how I've done that. Oops, make sure to unlock my layer first in order to delete it. Oh, the parent is locked. Perfect. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this mask. This is the rainbow, the way that we've created, and we also seen it on the Instagram story. Now, all I've done here is to select the M tool to activate the marquee tool, and I've clicked and dragged over the area that is going to be moving, so it's there static in order to hide it. And this is the entire rainbow that I know that I'm going to be cropped. That's why I've named the layer cropped. I'm going to hold the option key and then select our mask tool in order to create an inverted mask. An inverted mask will, instead of showing and using the mask as a window to show the content that you have highlighted, would actually do the opposite. So it will hide anything that you have highlighted. And as you can see here, because we're using mask, again, we're working non-destructively. So the file and the pixels are still there. We're just using the mask here to hide it. And then what I've done here is add just a selection of the little moving parts, which you should have as part of your illustration. It was done yesterday. That's why I said always make sure that you have a copy. And if you didn't have them, well, you can always select your file, making sure that this is let's say that that's the file that you created yesterday, you can always use the marquee tool and click and drag over the shape. And then like we done yesterday, you can click and drag on top of everything and just simply use the shape builder tool to erase any other area that you do not wish to use. So then all you're left is with the part of the rainbow that you're going to be animating, which are our little different part of the colors of the rainbows, of the arch of the rainbow. And then what I've done here, which is also very important, is to make sure that you have your main rainbow with a cropped part sitting on top. Because look what happens if I put the moving part above, and remember the order of the layers matters inside your layer stack, because everything that is above will display on top. Therefore, if I play the animation with the moving part above, you can see that we have some of them that go above the curve, and therefore it will just look messy because we have all this corner of the flat line that is going to come through the top. So make sure to hide the part that you're going to animate. That is going to leave you space to move up and down, and then make sure to place the moving part underneath the top, so whenever you play your animation, you also have the illusion that are actually just sitting underneath. It looks like that I've been moving something. That's probably the mask is a little bit too high. That's why we have some of the pixels. But again, you can always go back and select, making sure that your max is selected, and then fill it in white. And by doing so, you can also paint in white on the mask to make sure that whatever is the area that you're wishing to hide is still hidden. And then you can play your animation. Now, what I've done here, the star is exactly the same thing that we've done before. If we want to look at the cropped, at the item that they're moving, those are the little bits of, you will see here the different tracks. All I've done is using the position. Again, using the playhead in order to find a specific, let's go ahead and select one. You can use the playhead, which is probably lost somewhere in the animation. Here it is. Use the playhead to just identify any time specifically in the timeline. And then all you're left to do is to click on it. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this red one animation here. Let's go ahead and make sure that there are no more.
So real quick, we do have about 2 minutes left.
I'm just going to just show how to move the position real quick. Make sure to press the letter V on your keyboard to activate the move tool. And then by clicking, you select your first keyframe, then move your playhead like we've done before. And all you have to do is to move up and down or whatever you want your little a part of the rainbow here. So all you have to do is to select its position and then move it, and you will see that you have another keyframe there. So make sure that you, of course, now I don't even know where I placed it, but make sure that you make the movement noticeable enough. So you go up and down enough so it's actually noticeable. It looks like that was very, very close to whatever it was placed originally. So I'm just going to do something more dramatic. I'm just going to place it here. And you will see that will automatically just go and be lifted up. And again, all you have to do is just take some time and just head to each single moving part and apply the transformation of the position of all the different colors of the rainbow. And
I love it.
Pretty much it. I think we've done loads. I'm gonna go and place everything on my website real quick. My website is iamkladi.com. There is a page that is dedicated to resources to every Adobe Live. As I said, you will have access to the animation, the Illustrator file, and the PNG file. So it's iamkladi.com/freebies. I wanted to see how far did we go. So you're definitely going to have everything that I've done. You can find a lot of other freebies. It's just going to be here at the top with the name, the same title, probably going to be Pride Week, Adobe Live. You're going to see me and Val together, and of course, the downloadable file for you. Val, thank you so much for this time together.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us, for designing for us. It's been absolutely a pleasure being your host. And thank you everybody in chat for joining us. We do have to take off now because we're coming to the end of our time, but definitely tune in tomorrow because we're going to have a full day of masterclasses with our evangelists here on Adobe Live, followed by a brand new episode of Office Hours with Nick Longo and Andrew Hochradel. So you don't want to miss that. Keep an eye out for all of these awesome things from Kladi coming up next, and we will see you another time. Adios, everybody.
Ciao.